Bosniaks were in progress. They were identifying locations for concentration camps and the largest mass rapes of women in history formulated as a war aim. There was no doubt as to what would have been the destiny of non-Serbs in the potentially Serb-led Bosnia and Herzegovina. That's why the referendum was a adequate preparations. In an atmosphere of threats and obstructions by Serb nationalists, the referendum had a reasonable decision. Anxious citizens requested it from their parliamentarians. Though held in a hurry, lacking as manifested the will of the majority to live in peace and equality for all. International observers confirmed the full regularity of the referendum. The percentage of people who have voted for democracy was unusually high. More than 80% of the voters voted for the independence and the sovereignty of Bosnia and Herzegovina. The citizens didn't have time to express their happiness with this fatefully precious achievement. Furious because of the majority disobedience, the Serbian Social Democratic Party, on March the 1st, 1992, filled the streets with its followers who blocked all the exits and paralyzed life in the city. These sockheads, as people used to call them satirically, were a part of the headquarters' terrorist plan to attack the constitutional order of the country. Bosnia and Herzegovina was about to face days, months, and years of untold suffering and destruction. At the beginning of 1992, Bosnia was the country with the greatest concentration of arms across the planet. 4 corps were stationed here, equipped with powerful weapons and modern combat systems. During the aggression, the units of 5 more corps of the Yugoslav National Army attacked Bosnia. With the paramilitary formation of the SDS and Chetniks units from Serbia and Montenegro, the aggressors' power increased up to 200,000 people. Induced by the hatred towards all that was non-Serb, the unwanted armada in Bosnia had available over 1,000 tanks, several hundred armored vehicles, 3,500 of artillery pieces, and inexhaustible resources of guns and ammunition. Its sick leadership mentally prepared the army for committing crimes unprecedented in this century, within the last 1,000 years of its history. The advantage of the aggressor was not only in his powerful war machinery, but also in his international allies from the United Nations Security Council, which managed to impose the arms embargo. The ban on arms selling on the territory of former Yugoslavia was practically applied only to the Army of Bosnia and Herzegovina. That was obviously the goal of the traitors behind the stage. 3 of 5 Western forces justified the ban, saying that more arms in Bosnia would have automatically meant a more fierce war. In such a switch of theses, the meanings of unarmed people and peace were mixed, which helped the aggression and the genocide to progress. Naturally, defenseless people are always seen as a victim in every conflict. The political leadership of Bosnia and Herzegovina wrote to all relevant addresses and knocked on all important doors in the world in order to collect crumbs of justice for its people. In vain, even the appeal for lifting the embargo on arms in Bosnia and Herzegovina on a limited scale for a limited amount of defensive arms was not accepted. Atrocities committed by the aggressor in Bijeljina, Zvornik, Bratunac, Visegrad, Foča, Vlasenica, Prijedor, Kozarac, Brčko, Sarajevo, Gacko, Trebinje, and all over Bosnia and Herzegovina daily mobilized thousands of defenders. The resistance to the aggression was not the result of an ad hoc decision. As early as June 1990, at a pre-election rally of the Party of Democratic Action in Velika Kladuša, all enemies of Bosnia and Herzegovina were sent the message that all Bosniaks, if attacked, would defend their country together with all other peoples. A year later, 10 months before the aggression, the Party of Democratic Action formed the National Defense Council in the police headquarters in Sarajevo, together with 380 representatives from across Yugoslavia. Following this commitment, the first advisory meeting of the BH Patriotic League was held in Hrasnica in September 1991. In an atmosphere of approaching war, the patriotic forces started to organize the defense system. Groups of volunteers were secretly formed who became frontliners when the aggression started. That youth, devoted to freedom, was mostly unarmed. However, these wonderful young men and women were led by love toward Bosnia, so that even the modest weapons in their hands gave hope to defenseless citizens. Thus, the Army of the Republic of Bosnia and Herzegovina was born. At first, the army was limited to collecting weapons when winning battles against the aggressor. At the same time, various companies and private entrepreneurs were organizing their own weapons production in factories and handicraft shops on liberated territory. The enthusiasm, the speed and the inventive spirit marked the existence of a movement during the aggression where engineers and mechanics turned civilian production lines into the war frontline production within several weeks, making grenades, bombs, ammunition, infantry weapons and combat system components. Defense is not only a matter of weapons, but also a matter of motive. Ordinary people were determined to go for it because they were most needed here and most devoted to Bosnia.
Rad u našim snagama je na zavidnom nivou. Odaziv našeg stanovništva je maksimalno i vjerujem da ćemo uspjeti.
Aware of people's unpreparedness for war compared to the dominant aggressor, almost everyone around the world, as well as some in Bosnia, thought resistance would be equal to suicide. But history was here enriched with one more lesson, showing that the power of people cannot be measured with iron, because the homeland is a matter of heart. Her sons do not defend it because of its strength and wealth, but because it is their mother. Bosnian people never knew how much they loved their country until nowadays. Nor had Bosnia ever before remembered such a loyal, courageous and strong generation, the generation that filled the aggressor with horror and the world with wonder. A very popular song says that the smell of lilies was spreading throughout Bosnia in those days. The feeling of freedom was growing among people. The aggressor's idea of a blitzkrieg faded away like an artificial fog. The planners of the SDS and the JNA strongly believed that Bosnia would capitulate within 2 or 3 weeks. However, something totally different happened. People were rising spontaneously like an ocean high tide. The aggressor attacked every little part of their defense. Despite that, there were always more people than weapons available. A large portion of the country was occupied, but the Bosnian man didn't want to surrender. Outlawed members of the JNA were given resistance by the units of the Territorial Defense, the Internal Affairs Ministry, the Patriotic League,